Hi there, my name is Shaun Humphries with Assante Capital Management. Thank you so much for taking the time to take in this video. It seems like not a month goes by that I don't have questions from clients asking me whether it makes sense to take Canada Pension Plan early. I think many clients understand that if they take Canada Pension Plan early, there will be penalties for early receipt. And so they want to get some clarity as to whether there's real benefit to take it early and experience a penalty, or whether to defer taking the Canada Pension Plan and having a higher income later on. So this presentation is designed to give you hopefully some clarity on that very important decision. As well, we're going to talk about some of the changes to the legislation that will begin to be phased in 2012. So Samantha is beginning to get closer to the time when she's going to take her Canada Pension Plan. She understands that age 65 is the normal time to begin receiving the benefits, but she has also heard that at age 60 she can begin receiving it early. And so she wanted to understand the implications of that particular decision in her circumstances. Also, when she talked with her friends, they indicated that she can defer taking Canada Pension Plan to her 70th year. And so she's beginning to think through some of the implications of this and whether she should begin taking her pension benefits. So let's look at the basic pension. If you look at the maximum Canada Pension Plan at age 65, it's currently about $960 per month. If you take it early and you are subject to a 0.5% per month penalty for every month you take it early, if you start that pension at age 60, the benefit goes from $960 to $672 per month. If you defer taking the pension past age 65, you get a 0.5% increase per month on your pension, so that ultimately the pension for you is $1,248. So this is the classic decision that clients need to make. Do I take the lower amount at age 60? Do I take the CPP benefit at $960 at age 65, or defer taking my pension? Just by way of interest, the average benefit paid to Canada Pension Plan people receiving the benefit was $504 last year. So it gives you some basic numbers to start with when you look at the benefit. Well, really, to get clarity on this particular discussion, we just need to look at the numbers. And so the chart that's in front of you takes a look at the difference between taking CPP at age 60 or taking it at age 65. So what I've done here is I've just totaled the numbers. And so on this first column, the middle column, we began taking Canada Pension Plan at the reduced benefit at age 60. And by age 65, we would have received $40,320. Taking at age 65, we would have just had benefit for that 1 year, so that's $11,520. Going out to age 70, you can see the benefits paid to that date for early receipt have totaled $80,640, and if I'd received it beginning at age 65, it was about just over $57,000 in our pocket. By age 75, the numbers now are $120,960 to the good in terms of receipt of payments, and $115,000. So even at age 75, we're still ahead of the game in terms of numbers taking CPP early. Age 77. Well, age 77, that seems to be the catch-up period. In other words, by that date, $137,000 of benefits have been paid. And age 65, if I deferred it and took the higher pension, total benefits would be $138,240. So that's the natural crossover point. You know, the question always is, how long do I have to live into retirement before I would have been better off taking the higher Canada Pension Plan at age 65? And the answer is to age 77. I think for a lot of clients, what naturally comes up at that point is, well, when do I want to be ahead of the game? Do I want to be ahead of the game from 77 on? Or do I want to have that cash flow from age 60 to age 77? And you probably can read into my tone of voice as to what my bias is. And my bias is for clients to really have that net ahead factor from 60 to 77. When you're healthier, you're younger, you're more active, you probably can make use of that cash flow to supplement other pensions. And so my general recommendation is to take it early based on these numbers. The other reality is age 77 is about life expectancy, at least for males. From birth, it's roughly about age 76. If you're healthy as a male at age 65, there's a pretty good chance you're going to live into your early 80s. But if you look at average life expectancy, it's about age 77, 76. So it's another compelling reason for thinking about taking the pension early. Now, that's just the numbers part on early receipt, and I'm going to talk about some other factors to take into account in a few minutes. But what I want to talk about is changes to Canada Pension Plan. Beginning next year, in the year 2012, there's a number of changes taking place to Canada Pension Plan, really to help shore up the plan. There's obviously the baby boomer demographic. We see a generalized aging in the population, and Canada Pension Plan has to be fine-tuned on an ongoing basis to make sure that it's funded properly to pay out pensions to CPP annuitants down the road. So one of the changes that's coming into play is a change to the reduction, the early payment penalty reduction. So right now in 2011, the reduction, as I said before, is 0.5% per month. In 2012, it's 0.52%. And by 2016, the reduction will be 0.6% for every month that you take it early. So that reduction is going to go from basically 30% now to 36% by the year 2016. And so that potentially changes some of the numbers and the calculation in this particular discussion on taking Canada Pension Plan early. So let's look at those numbers, and we prepared a chart for you. So if you look at this chart, again, age 60, we begin taking the pension. By age 65, taking into account the penalties that will be phased in, and we're using the year 2016 amount, the amount that we receive would be $36,860, and of course we just have 1 year of payments at age 65. By age 70, we're still ahead for taking it early at age 60, $73,000, almost $74,000 compared to almost $78 or $58,000. By age 73, we're still marginally ahead, $95,836 compared to $92,160 if we deferred taking pension at age 65. By age 75, however, we're now seeing the age 65 option, taking it at that point, being ahead of the game. So remember the previous slide, age 77 was a break-even point. Now the break-even point is age 75. My feeling is that it still makes sense to take it early, but for some folks, who may look at those numbers and say it's maybe not quite as compelling. But it's still, if you look at these totals, if you're net ahead to age 73, I think a lot of clients intuitively were going to go, you know what, again, being ahead of the game from 60 to 73 just makes sense for me, and I probably want to take the pension. But everyone's going to be different, and we have to look at these numbers and then make a final decision based on what makes sense for our unique circumstances. The other thing that comes up from time to time is that if I'm talking to a client and they don't necessarily need the income and they're still struggling with the issue, this chart really takes into account the fact that if we took it early but didn't need the money and simply just reinvested the Canada Pension Plan benefits. So what we've done is from age 60 to age 65 at 3% returns after tax, we reinvested the CPP benefit. And so again, when we look at the totals and we invest those extra dollars, by age 75, taking the CPP early and getting the compounding value of investing the money in the first 5 years, the dollar amount is $114,000, and at age 65, not investing those first 5 years and getting extra interest to add to this equation, the balance is $115,000. So very close. So when you invest that money, get some interest income for a 5-year period, now the age 75 equation is very, very close, and another maybe compelling reason for thinking about taking Canada Pension Plan early. Now I want to talk about a few other factors. One that I've already alluded to, and I'm calling this take the money and run. And so for a lot of folks, and I see this very strongly in the retirement income planning that we do, the bias for many people is, listen, Shaun, if I retire at 60, I really see that time period between age 60 and age 70 or 75 as a period when I'm going to be most active, I'm going to be the healthiest, and I really want to take advantage of my health and my energy over those years. And because of that, they want to maximize their cash flow to be able to do things through the retirement. Now, that's really what this picture is designed to illustrate, is the fact that implicit in that is taking the money early, Canada Pension Plan early, allows you to take advantage of that opportunity. So when you have your health, you have that extra cash flow to do the things that you want to do. The other thing we've already talked about is that if you don't need the cash flow, you could always invest the Canada Pension Plan benefits and get some interest earnings working for you. So that's another potential compelling reason for taking Canada Pension Plan early. And then a final reason, at least as it relates to this presentation, relates to survivorship benefits. With Canada Pension Plan today, if you die, there's a lump sum payment to your surviving spouse or partner of $2,500. If that partner has no Canada Pension Plan benefits accrued, they'll get upwards of 60% of your CPP benefit as a survivor pension. But that's increasingly becoming a rare situation. What we're finding is when we work with couples for retirement planning, very often both couples have Canada Pension Plan benefits. They're in a situation where their benefit accrual is pretty close to one another. Both have worked over the years. So here's the reality. The practical reality is that if a spouse dies and they look at their survivorship benefits, the surviving spouse may already be having too much CPP income on their Canada Pension Plan to qualify for survivor benefits. So you have a situation where someone's put into Canada Pension Plan for 35 years, 40 years. They begin taking Canada Pension Plan, and in the first 3 or 4 years, let's say they die prematurely. Well, if their surviving partner has Canada Pension Plan as well, there aren't going to be any survivorship benefits paid out to them. So all they get out of all those years of contributing to Canada Pension Plan is $2,500. Now, we have to keep in mind that Canada Pension Plan is designed to do a number of different things. It pays out disability income for people disabled. It pays income to widows and orphans. It does a number of things. And so they need to try to keep as much money in that plan to do all those other program spending that's part of Canada Pension Plan. But the downside of that is if you put money in this plan all those years and then die prematurely and have a spouse that already has benefits, you're basically getting nothing out of the plan other than what you received in CPP up to that point and the $2,500 payment. Again, to me, that's a very compelling reason for taking Canada Pension Plan early. So Samantha's looked at the numbers, and she's filtering this discussion and this particular decision through really her life experience. And here's some of the basic bullet points that she's come up with. Number one, she wants to enjoy the extra cash flow. Really, the first 15 years of her retirement is an important planning time frame for her in terms of activities and things she wants to do. So she's obviously biased to want to take it early. She's prepared to forfeit some of that extra income at age 65. She's looked at the numbers that she's going to be net ahead until at least age 73, 75. So she's really thinking that that makes sense for her. The other is that longevity in her family has really not been there. And so as she kind of rolls the dice and plays the law of averages, she's thinking that because of that, taking Canada Pension Plan, again, makes more sense for her. And she wants to trigger the Canada Pension Plan before the changes are implemented. So she understands that beginning next year, they're going to start increasing the penalty for taking Canada Pension Plan early. And so she wants to get in under the line so that she can begin taking that benefit and not be hit by any of those early penalties. And so that's really, in a nutshell, an overview on this decision to take Canada Pension Plan early. My hope is that you found this discussion helpful. On our website, if you go to Shaun Humphries, www.shaunhumphries.com, we have some information that goes into the changes coming up beginning in 2012 in more detail. And I encourage you to go to the website and get that information. So, to contact us, if you have additional questions, shumphries@assante.com. Our direct line is 204-977-8049. And of course, the website information we've already talked about. Feel free to go to the website. There's lots of information there for you to peruse and review. Retirement income planning, which again is part of taking that CPP and making that decision, is a big part of what we do as a financial planning practice. We have a process called Game Plan, and if it's been a while since you've had your plan updated, or you know someone that really is concerned about retirement income planning, would like to get involved in a process that gives them clarity about their retirement income planning, I'd encourage you to direct them to the website. They can take a look at our game plan process and then contact our office if they're interested in having a preliminary discussion on how they can take advantage of the game plan, financial planning / retirement planning process. Again, thank you so much for taking the time to view this presentation. And from time to time, we'll be posting additional presentations on the website. We'll be sure to alert you to that. And take care.